I'm getting into your business now. How do you deal with all these kids and these NIL deals? Like, how do you deal with it? Because as the president of Reebok, I'm trying to do old school AAU camps, and I can't talk to players because they're playing in the Adidas league and the Nike's league, and I'm like, what the does that even mean? So, like, how do you, as a coach, how do you deal with all these agents and NIL players and all that stuff? Because it's kind of driving me
Yeah,
crazy.
it's very difficult because you got to do it. We're in a world right now where it's happening. It's here. There's nothing that we can do about it, and it's survival of the fittest. You have to have a fan base that understands it. You have to have the donors and the rebounders and the boosters that understand it. You have to have a president and AD that believe in it and understand it. So it's a whole thing now, and it's not about hooping anymore, Shaq. Who knows what you would have gotten from LSU coming out right now? That would have been crazy numbers. But at the end of the day, think about now the foundation that we laid for these young men. They're able to get, and even the guys before us, they're able to get these type of numbers in NIL, and it's just a part of the college life now, man. And it's very difficult because instead of talking to a guy about what you can do for him from a basketball point of view of helping him become a young man to a man, it's instantly talking about the number that everybody else is offering and what can you do.
You think we should have some type of NIL governing body? Because the only thing I don't like about it is, let's just say I took 300,000 from Memphis University, or University of Memphis, excuse me, and me and you don't get along. Now I can go back in the portal and get some new money.
Yeah.
You think I should be able to say, okay, if you're gonna sign with Penny Hardaway and he give you 300,000, you at least got to stay 2 or 3 years? Like, you think there needs to be like a NIL governing body?
Man, you know what? I would love that because there should be a governing body because I think that what's making the donors and the boosters around the country frown is because they could give a guy 5, 6, 7, 800,000 and he could have the best year of his life, but if someone offers him 2 million next year, he's gone. And that's what's the problem with college sports right now.
I want to jump in because you said, imagine what Diesel would get. Because you do know what these numbers are like, and like we have, what do you like? Give a roundabout number. What kind of offers do you think Shaq would be getting in this NIL era?
Man, Shaq would have got 3, 4 million. He would have got that would have been the highest. He would have been the highest paid ever. Seriously, at his dominance, it would have been way up there. I've seen some guys get two. Shaq getting 4 or 5 million easy from these teams.
As a high school kid.
Yes, yes, for sure.
But you know what I would have did? I would have did it different. And let me tell you, because I had a conversation with my kids today. For example, let's just say Lefco Industries want to give me $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just say there's this house in my mom in the neighborhood. My mom always wanted for 600,000. What I would do is say, I don't want your $1 million, but can you buy my mama this house? I'm gonna do business with you, but just pay my mama's house off, just in case I don't turn out to be a great player. But at least my mama's house is paid for. That's how I would do it. And instead of taking 4 or 5 million, I'm gonna try to take care of the family as much as I can. After I get that black on black Charger and that black on black Benz, after I get what I want, I gotta take care of mama.
No doubt.
5 million? Oh,
Wow.
at 17? Well, that'd have been crazy.
We have a question from the general, which is always about the big break. Penny, when did you realize you would be a successful coach? When did you look at yourself and go, I think I could actually lead a group of young men?
Well, I think my basketball IQ, I think I knew right away that I could be successful because it's about building relationships, which I really have a great feel for building relationships. And the X's and O's is everything you've learned your entire life. All the great coaches that I've played under, all the great players that I played with, all the great IQs and great minds. Been a basketball historian and understand champions and studying how they won, why they won, the mentality. So right away, I knew that when I got with a group that I would be, a really good coach because of those things. Now you can't get out there and play for them, but obviously you know how to coach the game. And I think building relationships is just as important as doing X's and O's. The Diesel.
First of all, Penny, I love your professionalism, but that's not the real answer, Adam. I knew Penny was going to be a great coach. In huddle situation where coach would draw a play, we go back to the court. Penny be like, man, that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to boom, boom, boom. Nick, D. Scott, you be ready in the corner. If the don't pick me up, I'm going to take it all away. If he come, I'm going to be ready to shoot. Shaq's been up a lot. that's when I knew he was going to be a great coach because he would see things that other guys wouldn't be. So he gave you the corporate answer, but the non-corporate answer, like I'm not going to call a coach out, but the coach be rolling the play. As soon as we get back out and get in our huddle, Penny be like, man, that we're not doing that. I'm about to take him off the dribble. Nick, you go to the left corner. D. Scott, you go to the right corner. Be ready to shoot. 1, 2, 3, break.
Is there truth to that, Penny? Now, we don't want your
Yes.
players
Oh,
right
yeah.
now
every
doing
time.
it.
We didn't do it every time, but there's some truth. If I felt something, then being the leader, I would change it. Not to disrespect the coach, but to be like, I know that this is going to work, and I knew that I had to make it work, or else coach was going to get after me.
Since nobody knows Memphis quite like you, we had this in the NBA draft where Zach Edey gets drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm curious, since you know the college game really well, how do you think he'll translate? What do you think about him with Ja Morant and that roster?
Well, I think that the Grizzlies, had to make a decision on the center because we needed a center. And Zach Edey, come on, man, he's not some bum. Zach Edey can really play. Now, on this level of the NBA, it's going to be faster. Guys are going to be pulling him out of the paint and bringing him on the perimeter. But if you watched him, he's pretty mobile to be that big. He's not this slow guy that can't move. So I think for the times that they pull him out to the perimeter, he'll have to go out there and learn how to play. But anything coming to that basket, man, he's coming weak side and is going to protect the rim. So for me, rebounding and protecting the rim, being in that drop coverage, it might hurt them sometimes, maybe not. But at the end of the day, I think he'll be a bigger force offensively for them because, man, you got to account for him on that role. You got to account for him getting to that basket.
What do you think, Shaq?
Coach Penny, I want to ask the coach question. When are we going back to old school basketball? You just talked about the drop coverage and doing all the switching. Why don't we go back to old school? You're 7 foot. I don't want you guarding Dame Lillard when they go to the 1-5 pick and roll. So when, as a coach, when do you decide? Because back in our day, it was all about adjustments.
Yeah.
When are we going to make real adjustments again rather than just doing what everybody else is doing? If you're a small team like Golden State, 1-5 is okay. But if you got Zach Edey on the court, Milwaukee. When we play Milwaukee, Dame gonna go to 1-5 pick and roll to see what you're gonna do. So as a coach, when are we going back to the old school defense?
I think it's coming soon, to be very honest with you. They have to evolve if they're going to draft guys like Zach Edey. Because think about it, he can't switch 1-5. You just can't switch 1-5 with him. You have to go back to a hard show. You got to go back to maybe a corral and then get back, and then the rest of the guys just kind of hold it down until he gets back. And then you got to put that guard under pressure to make him make passes. Nowadays, I don't trust guards can make passes through those type of situations anymore. I think they have the easy route. When it's a drop coverage or a switch 1-5, they have it really easy. But if you get back to some old school coverage, because everybody's not going to be the stretch big. You had some guys in the NBA this year in the playoffs that weren't stretch bigs. They were pick and roll guys. They weren't pick and pop guys. So how are those guys going to survive, on the defensive end? And to me, when you get Zach Edey, you have to adjust. And I don't think that's a bad thing.